Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible, celebrating here on a Victory Monday. Also a Victory Matter Day. Matt Swanson, Matt Lane, and Matt Hamilton here to bring the takes on a Monday evening. Matty Lane, how we feeling?
Oh, buddy, we're feeling great. For the first time this year, we are celebrating a Victory Matter Day. We have not had one of these yet this season. Honestly, we might not ever have another one of these that we don't have a Victory Matter Day, because the Chiefs from here on out may never lose a game ever again in our lifetime. So, as of right now, that is on the table, and nobody can tell me otherwise, Hamilton.
Hey, I mean, after that second half, it's the vibes are high right now.
Hope can spring eternal. I mean, it can. Yeah. I don't know if it's based in reality, but we'll take it. We'll enjoy every second of all this.
Don't try to tear us down, Kent.
No, the vibes could not be higher. I actually feel better today than I did on Sunday night, even, I think, walking away from this team, getting a big victory. It was quite exciting. Hamilton, how you feeling, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. It was exciting to watch that win on Sunday night. Excited to be here after a win, because it's not as much fun when we have to do these after a loss, and Ken just contemplating everything that's ever happened in his life, and we got real philosophical at the end last week.
For the first time,
it's 3 losses in a row too. Like, that's the big thing, right? Like the Super Bowl and then the first 2 weeks. Like, I'm not going to say I'm ever rooting for it, but like there's some fun to be had when the Chiefs are 12-0 and then they lose a game they shouldn't, and then you get to kind of finally talk about all the problems that you see that nobody wants to hear about when they're winning. That's not like a terrible show to have to do, but when they get blown out in the Super Bowl and then lose their first 2 games, those are not fun shows to have to follow and just continue to talk about everything that's bad. So what a great week this is, starting Monday off right with the Chiefs undefeated as of September 20s and on.
Yeah, I legitimately wasn't sure if Ken was going to be here this week after the way we ended last show. He was having an existential crisis.
Just questioning everything, What's the meaning of life? I just want to go hug my kids, but it feels better to be in a better mood after that. And now we go, right? Like, that's kind of what it feels like, is like they got off the schneid and now we go and we see what this team has. And like, that's kind of where it sits with me. But before we get too far into looking at this week and beyond, we at least got to get the baseline from Matt Hamilton. Hammy, like, tell us the thoughts. Give us the thoughts on Chiefs Giants. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first half was kind of disgusting, and a bunch of uncharacteristic mistakes. But I was really impressed with the offense in the second half. That really looked like it's an offense that's becoming the Andy Reid and Mahomes offense again. A couple of really, really nice drives there, just good execution, some plays down the field. Tyquan Thornton's really, really coming along. And the run game, this is the best the run game's looked all year. Everything was kind of working. And then Spags, it's just it is unbelievable to see what a chameleon he is week to week. I'll never get over it. How he can play 2 completely different styles of defense from one week to the next and have them both be equally effective. It's just, it really is remarkable to watch. And that's what really, the offense is going to figure things out. They're going to get healthier as the season goes on. I'm not worried about them long term, but seeing this defense playing this way again in back-to-back weeks, that's what really gives me the hope for this team going forward, being a Super Bowl contender yet again.
Yeah. It wasn't the prettiest of watch, and neither the Chiefs. That's not what the Chiefs are this year, right? Like, defensively, they have definitely had, like you said, Spags came out with another good game plan. I think this week they went like 80% split field coverage. So they're just playing super deep coverage. They said, hey, we bet you will not be able to throw the ball short and intermediate and make things happen all game long. And sure enough, Russell Wilson could not. And so it was just living in the extremes on the defensive side of the ball has actually produced two really good game plans back to back that have given the offense a chance. And the offense, it hasn't been pretty, but really when you dive into the numbers, it's been surprising to me, not just from this week, but they're a top 10 offense. If you want to go by EPA per play, points per drive, success rate, they're somehow a top 10 offense, despite how this has looked week after week after week so far. And so, yeah, I think things are probably looking up. If you want to, you can very clearly paint a very positive picture of what this team could look like a month from now once they start getting their wide receivers back, right? But it's a slog to get to some of that fun stuff that happened in the second half of that game.
Yeah, it really was. And yeah, and I know there are some people like, oh, they should have blown the Giants out. They still don't like. I thought this was a good win. I thought this was a good showing, and it was also there were encouraging steps in the right direction from other units that have struggled. I don't know if you guys know that this was tied for the most pressures they've gotten from a 4-man rush in the last 3 years. The last time they had more pressures than this with a 4-man rush in a game that wasn't a Week 18 throwaway game was in 2022. That was the last time they've gotten more pressures with a 4-man rush. So, again, that's something we've been waiting for. I know the Giants' offensive line has not been good, but still, to be able to get some signs of life from that 4-man rush, I think was a pretty big deal.
What I'll say, like, how many times have we talked about, this offensive line the Chiefs are going up against stinks, and then they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So like it's good. It is, it's good to see some of the pressure metrics kind of coming along here and seeing some positive signs and some signs of life. And look, I think the defense, like, I think they are what they are, and like I think they're showing some promise there. We're going to talk into some of that here later. Offensively, I'm not ready to make very many big declarations about the offensive side of the ball until we have a clearer picture of what this thing looks like when you have more weapons at your disposal and someone finally helps Tyquan Thornton. Like let's give our guy some help first before we make any big sweeping declarations about the offense. And like we'll see how defenses have to treat their rush plan a little differently. Their coverage plan when they have more to worry about on the field, which right now they just simply don't. And like, I think you're seeing some of that happen. Like you're seeing them get challenged, and there's not a lot of players consistently able to win and, reliably be trusted by Patrick Mahomes. So I think let's give that some time before we make any big, giant sweeping declarations about it. I think we are ready to make some big sweeping declarations about the running back room, though. So I don't think I have enjoyed. I think the last 24 hours have been really enjoyable because of how much Matty Lane has enjoyed Isaiah Pacheco chipping out, reversing, running the wrong direction, being 4 yards facing the opposite direction.
It's the weirdest play I've ever seen in my entire life.
But if that isn't just like a slight microcosm of how the running back room is just like kind of looked this entire season, and for stretches of just like this Andy Reid era, I don't know what it is.
Oh, man.
Amy, I know the run game looked better. I don't know how much I can attribute that to the actual running back room, or if I can attribute it more to Andy Reid and the offensive line. But man, this running back room, I know they've looked better this week. They still leave a lot to be desired for me. What are your overall takes on this running back group right now?
I mean, yeah, there were better signs. The Giants' run defense has also been pretty awful to start this season. There were positive signs. I can't get juiced about this running back room still. I thought Pacheco did run the ball better, especially out of shotgun, which he had struggled with the week before, as we talked about. But there's no juice, and it made me mad hearing Chris Collinsworth talk about asking Andy Reid about Brashard Smith too, and Andy Reid just kind of laughing him off, like, no, he's too small, we're not going to use him more. Like, It's the only guy that gives you any type of juice out of that backfield. And I do think they're going to need to do something there. Like, can you get away with this? Sure. But why do you want to just get away with it? Why don't you bring in somebody that can make some more things happen back there?
Well, not everybody can incorrectly chip their own offensive tackle and knock him down onto the ground before a ball is thrown at their feet that is now a fumble because they are backwards, and then they can then throw it again a second time to the opposing team. Not everybody can do that. So I understand wanting that skill set.
Not just once, twice.
Man, listen, I said it going into last year that I thought that Pacheco was probably better as purely Lamar Jackson's doing the Lamar Jackson thing. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. A ridiculous turnover for no reason.
Lamar Jackson.
I said that Pacheco's probably better as a running back too, right? Like I don't think that he's a running back one, and you love how hard he runs. You love the energy that he brings. And if you get him the ball out in the open field in the flats, he can sometimes make a play. So, like, you like some of the stuff that he does, but purely as a runner, it's just nothing, no instincts there popped. Nothing just looked like it was like, oh yeah, that guy understands how to play running back. And it's only gotten worse. Like, I understand that he got injured last year, but it's not even the athleticism that's in trouble right now for him. It's just, I don't think he's very good at playing running back unless the few times he has success, it's going under center. We talked about it a little bit last week. I think this game also bore it out. He had a couple nice runs under center where he's just running straight downhill. And hey, the gap's either there or it's not. But now that he's running as hard as he can straight downhill, if he hits the gap, it's like 6 yards, it's 8 yards because he runs so hard, right? And that's it though. That's like all of the positives. The negatives are they're stacking up. And so you're like, okay, let's put in somebody else. Well, then there's Kareem Hunt, who, I mean, you love the guy for what he's tried to do, but there is negative juice there. Like, even when he's making the right reads, he can't enact on them because he's just so much slower than a defender trying to track him. He's so much slower than the backside linebacker coming over. He's so much slower than the safety running the alley that it's just 3 yards. And he doesn't have the same physicality that he did a few years back to break tackles. So he's going down essentially on first contact almost every single time. And then that leads us to Brashard Smith, which, sure, give him more work, but the Chiefs are obviously hesitant to. So what does that say about a guy that played wide receiver as of 600 days ago and is now playing running back in the NFL, right? So I just don't know what they can do in terms of what's on the roster. This running back position not only is one of the worst in the league, but like it is one of the worst, I think, that's like ever just been like part of a Super Bowl contending team. Like, there's just not a lot of positivity going on in that room right now.
Do we think that there's any hope for Elijah Mitchell? Like, farther removed from the injury, like maybe they feel like they keep an eye on him, they see how things go, and they try to hope that he has some juice for the second half of the season, right? Like, Elijah Mitchell's, I think, the highest earning running back on the roster right now. I think he's got the most money tied up right now somehow this season, and he's on the roster. He's not seeing playing time. He's not active. I wonder if at some point they look to try to see what he's got, because like this week was rough for that running back group. There's just not a lot to be excited about.
I don't know how it could get worse. Why wouldn't you give him a shot?
Right.
You know, there's nowhere to go but up here.
Like, he might be cooked. He might be cooked, but I can guarantee you this: he has more juice than Kareem Hunt. Right? I can say that for for certain. He has more juice than Kareem Hunt. I can also tell you he probably understands running back more than Isaiah Pacheco. It'd be really hard not to, right? So like, here are two things that are like 100% certain. How is he worse than what you've seen? And to Kent's point, I would even understand the concept of, oh, maybe we're going to save this guy a little bit because there's been some injury history with him in the past. They actually did that a lot with Jerick McKinnon, right? When they had him, especially coming off those injuries, they really slow rolled him out until the later half of the year. Sure. So I could buy that as an option until you realize that they're missing their two best weapons. Their two best skill players in this team are missing the game right now. And Andy's entire offensive game plan, because they can't run the ball, is let's just use 800 bubbles and screens and flat routes and let Hollywood Brown and the corpse of Travis Kelce try to create yak. And like, that's not working either. Maybe this is not the time to save a running back, right? So I got really, it's funny, Kent, you were correct. I've got a lot of joy of looking at the picture on my phone of Isaiah Pacheco turning the wrong way 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. And I've watched the video at least 5 times today. Okay. I love it so very much, but I'm also getting increasingly frustrated knowing that he is about to go play 50% of the snaps at running back again, because I just don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, we were going back and forth on it all day today. And I think the funniest thing is, like, despite two of the more hilarious moments in Chiefs running back history, he still played a lot afterwards. Like, a lot. You know, like, he still played plenty of snaps after that. And
just think, like, if he did that for like Tom Coughlin or something, he would never see the field again, like, or Belichick.
It's
and
like
again,
they didn't pull him. They just let him keep going. And I mean,
I really do think Kareem Hunt got dinged up, though. There was a long stretch there where he didn't play at all. And then he did come back and play, but it was so I really wonder if Mr. Kareem Hunt got injured a little bit. And then, like, they're kind of saying, I don't think Andy Reid trusts Brashard Smith right now. So, like, they maybe didn't have another option. Granted, I would have just played 5 out instead of ever putting that back on the field ever again. The moment I saw somebody turn backwards, I just can't, man.
Well, I mean, but the run game did work a little bit after that, though. You know, like, it did work a little bit. Like, the under center game started working. Like, that's the funny thing is, like, they actually had some redeeming moments in the run game. I can't necessarily attribute it directly to them or to, to the running back room itself. But, I mean, Elijah Mitchell, maybe a little bit longer away from the injury. Maybe they just see what they have with the juice. And if it gets back to any level that they feel comfortable with, like, there's always that potential. And then I think, hey, look, some bad teams with some decent running backs. Alvin Kamara out there, Breece Hall out there, Jerome Ford, which I know isn't going to excite people necessarily, but, like, put him in. I mean, it's better than what they have.
Yeah.
If it doesn't excite you, go watch the Pacheco plays again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's some options out there. For this to take advantage of. So, we'll see what kind of choices they make. We'll see how serious are they about this running back room too. Like, do they try to shake some things up this week after everything and after how everything went down? I think it's worth paying attention to. I think that will be one of the storylines that we get during this week's pressers and moving forward. Calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field for the 50 or at the 50 inside GEHA field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once in a lifetime view of the pre-game coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We are going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's why I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
Appreciate everyone hanging out on a Matter Day, having all kinds of fun with Matt Hamilton and Maddie Lane talking about this Chiefs victory. And I know, like, we kind of got a little bit negative there, but there's still some positives going on with this offense. Maddie,
wait before we go too far. Wait. Do the Chiefs make a move at the running back position before the trade deadline? Kent, your official prediction, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Follow up before Hamilton answers here. Is this going to be a real move or a fake move?
It's going to be a substantial move, yes, that actually gets
Okay.
them someone that leads the rotation.
On the record. Okay, Hamilton, what about you? What do you think?
So I think you have to give Elijah Mitchell a shot before you do anything. Hopefully we see that soon, but I do ultimately think they end up doing something. I don't see it being, in your words, I will say it's more of a fake move. I think they bring in somebody who's
Okay.
a part of the rotation depth, not somebody who's going to really carry the workload, but somebody who will make them better. I think Jerome Ford is a good name to look at there.
Yeah.
See, and maybe I have a low bar, but like I think Jerome Ford's a real move. Like I feel like that's a real one.
Ooh. Tucker put a poll up too, so if you're here hanging
don't-
out with us, you gotta get your vote in. If the Chiefs are gonna make a substantial move at running back, and by substantial I mean somebody that is gonna essentially take on a significant share. It doesn't mean most, it doesn't even mean the majority, but a significant share of the touches at the running back spot or snaps.
I have a question
Yeah.
for both of you. Who do you think is splashier, Brees
6'9".
Hall or Alvin Kamara?
It's a good question.
I don't answer.
I think it's still probably Kamara just because of all the different things he can do and this offense and the way they run it. The fact that you can basically line him up anywhere on the field. You can do that a little bit with Brees too. Obviously, Brees has less tread on the tires and pressure, and he's looked incredible this year, by the way. If you haven't watched a lot of Jets football, because there aren't a lot of reasons to watch Jets football, he's looked pretty damn good. I think last year is still recovering from that injury. He didn't look quite like himself. He looks like Brees Hall again this year. If you either one of those moves, I mean, would be monumental. And that's I guess that's what I had in mind when you're talking a real move, Maddie, like that type of a
Yeah.
player. Like I'm not trying to downplay Jerome Ford. He's a good running back. He'll make that room better. But when you say real move, that's what I had in mind.
Yeah, I think Jerome Ford specifically, I think is like right on the fence of a guy that he probably does earn a substantial role in this particular offense, but I don't know if I would classify him as a substantial addition. So yeah, it's kind of a weird spot. I think Kamara is splashier. I still think he's just a better player right now. Brees Hall's probably at this point of their respective careers. Brees Hall's probably a bigger home run hitter, but I mean, I think Kamara's a little bit more consistent. I still, watching Brees Hall, there's the eye test and then like what the efficiency numbers always work out to, like always, they just never match ever. And so like, I get it. The offense could be a bit of a problem. I would not be upset with Brees Hall, but I do think Kamara probably makes a bigger impact right away, and I do think would be seen as a splashier move.
I think I'd be more interested in Alvin Kamara. I feel like the value on Kamara might be a little cheaper than Brees Hall. Just because I could see like the Jets being like, well, we may want to extend Brees Hall here,
Sure.
guys.
I think they're entirely different price brackets for them too, I would assume.
And I think Alvin Kamara could be a little cheaper just because, and maybe there's a market for him, but I think he could be a little cheaper just because of like where he sits in his career. So I don't know. I don't know what it would take. Maybe like a pick swap. It's like you give them your third and you get a fifth back, something like that.
Yeah.
Like I could see something around that being fair value. Something in that vein, maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting question, but like I do think if Alvin Kamara becomes available, the Chiefs should absolutely be on it. They should absolutely be jumping in on that.
It was also funny. I talked about a lot of other plays. I'm sorry, I just saw it on the timeline. Isaiah Pacheco on the first running into his own offensive tackle and knocking Josh Simmons down, and then the ball was thrown to him, and then he threw it back to the other team. On that play, it was a play action from under center. He was 100% not supposed to chip. He just like didn't know where to go. And like part of that, probably the lack of practice of under center stuff. But like, you can literally see him. There's a giant hole like up the A gap. I mean, technically B gap by the point where Kingsley had finally moved out of the way. He just has to run straight up and then cut out to the side. But you like see him mentally struggle with, I need to get to the flat, but there's someone in the way. How do I get there? Let me just run through them. And it just happened to be his own player that he ran through. Like, it's just some of the stuff that was happening, it was so funny to go back and watch. And I'm sorry I had to interrupt Hamilton for this. I really prefer Kent that I interrupted, but I saw it.
No, all good. I was just gonna say with with the Kamara versus Brees Hall, it's interesting because Kamara has another year under contract, a pretty hefty price tag on him. Brees Hall, you wonder what's going on with the Jets because there were rumors all offseason that they didn't want, that they might have traded him before the season even started, that they don't really value him as much. Obviously, cheaper price tag, but yeah, you have to make that decision whether or not you do want to extend him, all of that. But and it does, I guess you're right, Ken. Like the Jets can kind of balk at it, like, oh, we're thinking about extending him if you want to take him away from us. But there are reasons why I think both of their you wouldn't have to give up as much as one might think for either one of them because of the Kamara price tag, because Brees, it's basically a rental. So I feel like both of them, if those teams do decide to move on from them, will be fairly gettable price tags. You're not going to have to give up anything crazy.
I think Kamara's next 2026 contract year is also very cuttable as well. So like, I don't think you're incurring a lot of debt or any debt.
Sure.
So there's that piece of it too. Like I think it's pretty easy to get out of. So and maybe that's incentive for. I mean, I guess like that might be incentive. There might be some incentive there for the Saints to move on from him too, potentially.
Yeah.
So, but I know we've been sitting here talking about negatives on the offensive side of the ball. There were still some good things. Like, and I think there's context that is required. The Chiefs are top 10 in EPA right now offensively across the National Football League. And it does not feel like that at all, right? Like we've seen some of the woes, and like that probably is to some degree a Patrick Mahomes stat. Like there definitely is just some
100%.
Patrick Mahomes, baked into it. But I think when you look at like the baseline of like, oh, this team is struggling mighty and this is a terrible offense and like, yeah, like it's been rough and Patrick Mahomes is doing some heavy lifting here for sure. But having a top 10 EPA baseline as an offense that is without their top two wide receivers, like there is some context here that probably is required when we're like you look at the scope in this in the landscape of the National Football League. It's not exactly been the most pretty offensive showing so far across the board consistently for a bunch of teams. Yes, there's been some teams that have performed better than others, and there's been some teams that have put up some big points. But it's not like the rest of the league is lighting the world on fire right now, and the Chiefs are just piddling away. It definitely style points are definitely a thing that other teams have in spades on the Chiefs right now. But Hamilton, I think there probably is a little bit of like, hey, like look across the landscape and you might feel a little bit better about where the Chiefs sit right now.
Yeah, it's true. Again, you have your offenses that have been explosive every week, like the Ravens, for example, but a lot of offenses. I mean, look at what's going on with the Steelers right now. It is a slog for them to get through games with Aaron Rodgers, and I think Aaron Rodgers has been playing really well. There are a lot of offenses that are going through some things right now, and as you said, especially missing your top two receivers, and that second half just really does give me a lot of confidence that they looked really sharp. Those are some really good drives. So yeah, we're seeing the signs that you want to see. Obviously, the first half, I'm throwing it out the window. I'm focusing on how things ended, and things ended, on a real positive note. That's the best this offense has looked over an extended period of time this entire season so far, or entire season, these first 3 weeks. And not only your top two receivers not being there, but I think the one disappointment for me in that game was we didn't even see Jalen Royals yet either. So obviously they're being cautious with him. That was the huge fake out and gigantic disappointment because I was really looking forward to seeing him make his debut. But that could potentially be your top three receivers that we haven't even had on the field yet. So there's a lot of room for this thing to grow, and with where it is, again, seeing Tyquan Thornton, I think the chemistry with him and Mahomes has grown week by week. He's an awesome addition to this team. And when you get those other guys back in there and the offense is starting to funnel through Tyquan Thornton, he's going to be even better. So I'm excited about where this thing is headed.
I mean, even beyond EPA per play, they're top 10 in success rate. They are like flirting right around, I think, being top 10 in points per drive, yards per drive. Like, as gross as it looks to watch this offense, they are, I mean, for essentially by almost any stat that matters in terms of gauging an offense, they are top 10, despite missing their top 2 wide receivers, despite the fact that they have no run game, and their counter to the run game is to throw a bunch of short passes to create yards after the catch to a bunch of guys who can't create yards after the catch, right? Like, there's so many things working against what this offense has right now. Travis Kelce dropping a bunch of passes. I bet if somebody that's a lot better at this would have to go back in, but if you could change Travis Kelce's dropped touchdown essentially last week against the Eagles and add it to there, I wonder if they're top 5 in EPA per play. Honestly, like I bet that has a big swing, because that was a huge like swing in even that game. So it's just like somehow the offense is coming out and producing efficient numbers, quality numbers. And a lot of that is, yes, Patrick Mahomes scrambling. They're like passing EPA per play is like middle of the pack, like 16th. Their rushing EPA is a little bit better, but if you take away scrambles, they're one of the worst in the league. So like, yeah, a lot of it is falling on Patrick Mahomes, who's not playing perfect football, but like, good luck finding any quarterback that's ever had any success playing with the hand that he's been dealt so far this year, right? Like, there's just not a lot going on. So I definitely think there's hope for this offense moving forward. I think the second half was nice to see that, because not only did we get Tyquan Thornton and Mahomes connection continuing to grow, not only did we get some more run, like the run game was working a little bit, they got under center, it looked like they changed something with the offense. It was still a quick passing game, but it went from bubbles and little stuff out into the flat to a lot more hitches and some outs. They were just like, they were working less to get 3 yards and then create yards after the catch, and more to pick up 5 to 7 yards just at a completion. It's like they finally understood, okay, we can't throw this bubble to Travis Kelce and expect him to make a play and beat somebody. Even the touchdown, they tried to run hitch flat to Kelce. Like, he's not beating anybody from 3 yards out at this point in his career. I'm glad that Brian Burns didn't rush Juwan Taylor and slow played it, because that probably saved the Chiefs a touchdown. If they let him throw that to Kelce, he 100% gets tackled, because that's just not what he can do anymore. So it was, I think, nice to see them flip that switch. And the offense wasn't drastically different, but it felt like the goal was less to create yak and more to just like, okay, let's keep the ball moving. Let's keep the ball moving. Let's hit these outbreakers. Let's not worry about crossers and dumping the ball off in space. Let's just get the ball out quick and take whatever is there. And I think you saw that kind of worked a little bit until they were able to push it downfield.
You got to
absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. That absolutely was the case, and there's no reason why they can't continue to do that and do more of it going forward. Because I am tired of this idea that, oh well, the short passing game, the bubble screens and all that, it's just an extension of the run game, so you have to think of them as run plays. No, it's not the same as running a football, and especially throwing bubble screens to Travis Kelce at this stage. It's just it's not what we want to do. So yeah, it was really encouraging to see more, traditional quick game versus bubbles and the at or behind the line of scrimmage passing game. And I think that's absolutely something they can continue to do here going forward and see success with.
Mahomes looked frustrated in the first half.
Yeah.
He looked frustrated. He didn't look comfortable at all. And I don't know exactly what triggered the comfort level in the second half. Like, they did have a series where they kind of got into the under center stuff, and they had kind of a series of plays where they're using the jet, they're using Brashard Smith, they're getting the run game going. They had some versatility in the run scheme during that possession, started to find a little bit of rhythm. Like, I think there was actual rhythm to the offense in the second half of and confidence and trust, and things were just kind of really going. Mahomes played free. He played a lot more free in the second half too. And maybe it was the late field goal to get him up 9-6 that just loosened some stuff up a little bit for him. But they just felt like he played with a lot more confidence in the second half. And I think you saw that kind of punctuated with the vertical shots, multiple to Tyquan Thornton on back-to-back plays, being aggressive and taking some shots down the field and pushing the ball down the field a little bit. He finally found his opportunities. He gave Thornton a couple shots, and Thornton finally came down with the second one. So, you saw some good signs. You saw, hey, look, you got the run game going a little bit. You got the under center game going a little bit. The offense found some rhythm through it, I think, a little bit. And then, hey, come around later and start pushing the ball down the field aggressively and playing with a little bit of confidence and swagger. It was encouraging. And, look, they badly need their skill players back. They badly need him back, but I think, a version of this offense, when you see Rashee Rice back, when you see Xavier Worthy, you get what you're getting out of Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, maybe Jalen Royals gives you something as well. I'm not ready to I know there's frustrations and it's ugly, but I'm not ready to bury this thing until I see how the full reveal and the full vision and plan for this offense kind of happens. And once that does, then we can start having those conversations about like what this thing is and what this team is. Because we play the short, we always are in that in the moment analysis, living week to week. I do think there's probably more patience within the Chiefs building than we've ever had about a lot of things here. Right? There's a lot more patience. There's a long game to all this. They know that they've got something cooking whenever they get their full reveal of players back. But we have to sit here and watch this team week to week, just try to slog through things and try to make sure that, we're sitting here watching them, this team try to hold on for dear life. I think they're comfortable. I think they're probably more comfortable with the week to week than we probably are sitting on the outside looking in. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what makes this thing fun. I think they've got plenty of stuff. They got plenty of things that they can pull from here sooner rather than later. Once this skill group kind of starts to grow and get back and get back in the swing of things.
Well, and I wanted to look at this because there's a comment here in the chat. It's from Bumpa, and I think a lot of Chiefs fans kind of have this thought process: is the offense might not be a Rashee Rice away from being good, Worthy a non-factor with the shoulder injury or whatever he's dealing with. And I mean, I think a lot of Chiefs fans are going to have that same sentiment because you watch some of the stuff and it looks like it's a broken offense. Everything within structure is really bad. Their quick passing game, like their success rate and their EPA on passes under 2.5 seconds, very low. Their first down, early down passing, very bad, like ranked very low in the leagues. Like there's plenty of reasons to be worried that the structure of the offense, the scheme that they are currently running, isn't working particularly well. And I get it, and I get that. But man, I just go back and think about it. Think about how many times the ball's been thrown to Hollywood Brown for 5 yards and he just gets tackled for 5 yards. And now replace that with Worthy or replace that with Rashee Rice and imagine what that looks like. Go back. I mean, Juju Smith-Schuster's doing a great job trying to fill in for Rashee Rice. Not only is Rice going to be better than Juju, but now also go back and look at like the 3 plays that he can't quite get his hands on, right? And imagine that's Rashee Rice instead. Not only is he catching it, but hey, maybe he's in a little different position. And now that's not just a catch for 9 yards. That's a catch and run. And Rashee Rice is one of the best, if not the best player in the NFL right now at turning short gains into explosive plays just on those exact type of slants. So I think it's a little premature to say that the structure of this offense doesn't get better when the Chiefs actually have wide receivers that would play for other teams. Because I mean, spoiler, they don't right now. Tyquan Thornton, the way he's played this year, could make a case for making another roster. I don't know if any other receiver that has played. I don't know if any other skill player for the Chiefs besides Travis Kelce. He's earned it, but it's not like he's played great this year. But like outside of Kelce and Tyquan Thornton, based entirely off of this year, who else is getting snaps for a single other NFL team out of this skill room? It's not the running backs. I don't think Hollywood Brown's got the juice left to be worth the squeeze. None of the other wide receivers particularly matter. Like who else is playing for any other team? So yeah, I think getting back real NFL wide receivers is going to go a long way. Even if the structure doesn't get fixed, I think that they will be able to do a lot more with it, having real guys out there.
Hamilton, you got anything else on that offense?
No, I 100% agree. I would not overlook or downplay the return of Rashee Rice and what it's going to mean to this offense. I think he's, again, all the stuff that's happened that's kept him off the field aside, I think he is a huge impact player, especially within the structure of this offense and what they like to do. His ability to make plays with the ball in his hands, to make those plays over the middle where the Chiefs have eaten and had their most success over the years. I think it's going to be hugely significant for this offense.
Just give defenses something to worry about and then tell me what the defense looks like. And it's not just physically challenging a bunch of players that can't beat coverage. And then we'll talk. I think when you have threat of talent on the field, it will change how defenses decide to play the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
What's up, everybody? Benny Heiss with KCSN, betting analyst for Kansas City Sports Network. And Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. And guess what? You can get started today because new Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets once DraftKings Sportsbook launches on December 1st. You can download it now, place a $5 bet once they are live. Guys, DK Sportsbook brings everything you need to really elevate your game day. You got live in-game betting, super fast payouts, endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when they are live in Missouri, you're going to be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. It is safe, secure, fast money withdrawals. That's the place you want to play. So here's what you do. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code KCSN to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live on December 1st. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Remember, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they're issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms are available at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, you know, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity because you won't be disappointed and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
Having a good time on a victory matter day. Talked a little offense, little hope for the offense. Hey, some hope for the defense too, right? Like I think there's some positive signs on defense too. Like I think there's a little cautious optimism because they're 1-2 and they started the season so slow and there was some frustrations during the year. But like, hey man, I think there's some reasons for optimism on the defensive side of the ball, Maddie.
Yeah, I think so. I think we kind of opened it up with Hamilton's thoughts at the beginning, but this is back-to-back weeks where I think you got not an crazy out-of-the-box game plan this week, but still something a little bit different than you expect. It was a lot of bracket coverage over Malik Neighbors wherever he went, if it wasn't against Trent McDuffie, and then they just essentially stayed in like too deep safety coverage all game long. Some of it was quarters, some was too high, some was too many. Like they mixed it up a little bit, but they played with 2 deep safeties pre-snap and they didn't roll them down. It was like 80% of their snaps. They were not about to let this ball get over their head. And like last week, they weren't about to let the run game or like Jalen Hurts find a way to get a rhythm to beat them. Like Spags is doing a great job at calling games based on the opponents. And I think that's like a good place to start. The other thing that stood out to me, once again, I think the coverage menu has been very simplified since week 1. I think week 1, they went out there with all their rotations and their slot drop stuff and safeties rotating and the 3 different guys just rotating post snap just because they can. And I do think that some of the more intricate match stuff that they try to do that they did last year, I do think some of like the more, throw the kitchen sink at the coverage stuff that Spags likes definitely took a step back without Justin Reed and some new parts. So I think they've simplified it. You're getting a lot more man. You're getting a lot more just pretty basic pattern match zone stuff, but it's working. And I think that's helping the secondary play a little faster. You're seeing Shamari Connor, Brian Cook, Jaden Hicks. Like you're seeing all these guys play quicker mentally and which allows them to play faster physically. So I think they have figured out a little bit of something. It's kind of dusting off that, 2022 defensive playbook a little bit. They ran a lot of static zone that year, and I don't think they've done that yet, but it was a lot more simple for Spags than it typically is for his coverage units. And I think that might be the best way to go with this group.
Yeah, especially with it being a younger group, more complex doesn't always necessarily mean better because, as you said, the most important thing for a defense is to be able to play fast and be confident in what you're doing. And when you go back to week 1, it didn't look like there was a lot of confidence from the defensive backfield in what they were running. There was a lot of hesitation. Looks like a lot of fear of making a mistake, which when that happens, you're just going to give up a ton of completions underneath you, which is what they did. This looks like an entirely different group from that. And I do think, yeah, simplifying what they're doing in coverage a little bit has played a big role in that.
It's kind of funny. You think about, you pointed 2022. We were talking about 2022 earlier today, Maddie. It just, like like you said, they simplified things out of necessity because they had so many young players. And it's kind of a full circle moment because it's the 2022 class on a contract year, going back to maybe not the exact same static coverage, but more just like, hey, we had to reduce and simplify some things down a little bit. We aren't getting as crazy or elaborate because we just need to get back to the basics a little bit to a degree. And it's that same, it's kind of a full circle moment for that side, right? Where, you saw 2022, they played a lot of static coverage. 2023, they got crazy elaborate. They got a lot more elaborate in their coverage schemes and were able to execute it. They had Justin Reed in the back, the back end there, right? Like they had elite communication. That's probably a place where they've lost a lot. And that might be the Justin Reed factor probably is a little bit why some of that stuff maybe didn't pan out the exact same way it does or has. But they're breaking in some young players. They're seeing some young players get more playing time, right? It's that 2022 class doing some heavy lifting with Brian Cook, Jalen Watson, and Trent McDuffie. But Jaden Hicks is a second-year player that's kind of being thrust into a bigger role. And, hey, Noel Williams having to play, I think 19 snaps this week, playing a little bit of a bigger role for this defense, right? So, yeah, I think they're maybe having to make sure that those guys are caught up to speed, but I think there's a lot. There's reason to be excited about the back seven. You talk about the pressure rate, and we'll see. I'm still not ready. I'm still not ready to crown this team yet. I think surprisingly, I don't even think the and you don't have to worry as much about rush lane integrity with Russ Wilson. But
what about when Jackson Dart's in?
Yeah, those Jackson Dart packages. Yeah.
Probably should have put him in to see what happened, but I still can't get over Russ pulling his own read. Russ said it's Russ time.
I still can't get over Russ throwing the ball off the crossbar on 4th and goal.
What about throwing the ball to the locker room?
That one I can't even, after seeing the crossbar, I can't even get mad about the locker room. That was a better decision. I don't think.
And the crazy part is all those plays, those 4 plays from him, which were terrible, are completely overshadowed by Isaiah Pacheco. It's crazy. No, I think, yeah, you're right. They got young guys that they're stepping in there. It's like the opposite of 2022, because in 2022, they had safeties. Well, Brian Cook was new, but they still had they had veteran safeties around. Dude, they had guys in the safety room that were helping these young corners. Now, the veterans are going to be Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. Yes, Brian Cook a little bit, but if we're talking just purely based on their play, McDuffie and Watson are your 2 best players in that secondary, right? And those guys probably can do whatever you ask, but it's the Hickses, Chamari Connor's in his 3rd season, and now he's definitely playing a lot more true safety, also still playing in the slot some, but playing more as a true safety. And Hicks is out there. So they're mixing all these guys in. So yeah, it makes sense to simplify it. I think it's smart of Spags not to go into just the plain static stuff that they did that year, but the simplification's been good. And then guys are stepping up. Brian Cook's played some really good football the past 2 weeks. I'm glad that he was able to come back in the game and he wasn't too injured. I thought Brian Cook's played really well. Chamari Connor, they're not letting him just get isolated one-on-one in the slot versus slot wide receivers the past 2 weeks, right? So when he's in the slot, he's got help to deal with, or he's working on bigger tight ends or guys. So he might be giving up catches, but he's not getting just completely burnt for big chunk plays like he was. And then you're getting more Trent McDuffie back in the slot because you got Noel Williams stepping in on the outside a little bit more frequently. So it does feel like the secondary is starting to figure some stuff out, and it might be a little bit simpler than what we're used to out of Spags, but based on what we've seen from the pass rush, based on what we've seen from the second level of the linebacker group, I understand that the talent level overall in the secondary may not be through the roof, but that might be the most important unit that this defense has. The defense might go as far as the secondary takes them, because I don't think you're going to get to play Marcus Bowe every single week and let George Karlaftis just run bull rush after bull rush, right? It's just not going to exist. So eventually the pass rush won't get home. I think this defense goes as far as this young secondary can take them, and Spags can take them. And the last 2 weeks have been really impressive.
Yeah, and I think, again, seeing them do it in 2 totally different styles, obviously, when you're playing this much split zone and too high and, they didn't have to cover as much as maybe you would think in that, because the Giants' offensive line was bad and the front four was able to win so frequently. But still, they were able to hold up. They didn't give up any of those big, because still that's what you worry about with Russell, right? Is him, extending a play a little bit and making some ridiculous moonball throw where somebody gets behind the defense and gets lost. And we saw him do it against Dallas last week. They didn't give up any of those. And then the week before, being that aggressive and sending that much pressure, all it takes is one mistake for your doors to be blown off, and that didn't happen. So it's been really encouraging, and I'm with you. I've had my issues with Brian Cook over the years. I think he's been phenomenal these last 2 weeks.
The coaches didn't forget how to coach, and we spent so many times in this. We've seen this group cycle over so many times over the last few years, and I think it's important. Like, this is a very good coaching staff. This is an experienced coaching staff. Dave Merritt's done an excellent job coaching there, and yeah, they made some mistakes and they had a rough go of it in week 1. But I think their response the last 2 weeks has been tremendous, and I think they've made great strides. I think that's one of the more improved groups from week 1 to now, and I think you got to just trust that they're going to continue to get better. There's a lot of young players still in that secondary. There's going to be some players that need to step into leadership roles, and they're going to have to continue to provide continuity or to create some continuity on that side of the ball. But you know what? Like the late season version of this group could be promising. It really could. And I think you're starting to see some signs there. And I think there's some young players that continue to enhance and elevate the ceiling of the defensive back room. So I'm excited to see where they go, and big challenge next week against the Baltimore Ravens. Maddie Lane, any more thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, I think we've kind of forgot to do it this year. I think because of the way the teams have been lost, but I think it's time we got to bring back some like helmet stickers, some butt slaps, good jobs. I think it's time. Hamilton hasn't been here for us. So this is essentially just, your player of the game, but it's not to say your best player, just somebody that you want to, that maybe you didn't get to talk about yet, or just something that stuck out to you. Just so you know, if you want to go with Isaiah Pacheco for the humor that he's provided to everybody, he was given a toast game last night on the post game show. You still can go with it, but so you can have the good job. Kent's giving a helmet sticker. I'm giving a butt slap.
So I was going to say we could also just come up with something for Hamilton to give out, because Craig used to give out a ball of ribbon. I do helmet stickers. Maddie does butt slapping a good job. Hamilton, we got to figure out what we're giving out.
Yeah, what do you want to give away to a player? What kind of award do you want to give to a player after this kind of game?
Sidebar, while you're thinking,
it's a great call. Yeah.
While you're thinking about, I'll give you a second.
Just dropping this on you.
Did you know Jim Nance? Did you know Jim Nance used to give? I think he might still do it. He used to give people at big sporting events his necktie. So like if he had like at the 2008 Final Four, he's giving some Kansas Jayhawk the necktie. At the Masters that he participates at, he gives Tiger his necktie. That is such a isn't it? I
did not know that.
Isn't that weird, unique? I don't know. I don't know if I like it or not. Hey, have my necktie to commemorate this. Like, I don't know. You don't have to give out a necktie.
It's like his jersey swap equivalent, I guess.
I guess. I don't know if he was getting back for it, though.
I'm going to start giving away left socks. I'm going to start giving away left socks to people. Sock swap.
You have any idea what you want to give away, Hamilton?
Man, this might need to be my homework assignment for the week. I'm not
perfect.
Yeah.
Hamilton's going to give out a TBD.
Yeah.
TBD give out a TBD. You're going to retroactively give it to this player, whatever you come up with what it is. Tucker wants to call it Hamy's Hustler.
The extra effort of the week. Yeah.
Hamy's Hustler of the week.
How about Christian Roland Wallace for getting from basically the opposite numbers from one side of the numbers to the other to come up with that interception. He obviously played a bigger role in that game than we've seen him play in the past, and big interception there. So I'll go Christian Roland Wallace. That was a huge play in that game and covered a lot of ground, a lot of hustle there. So if that's what we're going with, Tuck, then that'll be my guy. But we'll put a pin in that.
We could still workshop. I think you need to actively give something away. Like it can't just be Hammy's hustler. Like you have to give away like something. We gotta get something. I'll give a helmet sticker. We haven't talked enough about Taekwon Thornton today. And so I'm gonna continue that. So shout out Taekwon Thornton for he's getting a helmet sticker from me. Just the man is making incredible plays. He is doing a tremendous job. He's doing a tremendous job kind of filling in and providing a explosive element to this offense in the absence of any other explosive element on this offense. He's been their best receiver through 3 weeks, and he deserves all the praise and the credit he gets. Restricted free agent in 2026, by the way. So the Chiefs have him under club control for another year, relatively cheap, which is a big boon for them. So good on them. Let's go butt slapping a good job to close things out. Maddie, what is it?
Butt slap and a good job to Juju Smith-Schuster. I thought in that first half he was playing his ass off. He was doing a good job. He was fighting, he was hustling. They had the screenplay, another catch and run. When the offense really couldn't get anything going in the first half, Juju was able to make a couple plays happen. This is a guy whose knees, he moves like his knees hurt. Right. And I'm sure they do, but he's still going out there doing his best. He is trying very hard. And I don't mean that as like a negative way. He is really he is playing as hard as he possibly can. He's filling in a big role for them. So I think Juju Smith-Schuster, Taekwon Thornton's going to get a lot of the shine. Hollywood Brown's getting a lot more targets. So I think the volume for him starts popping up a little bit. But I do think Juju Smith-Schuster has done a very good job kind of being like the glue guy for some of these Chiefs broken possessions and like stretches where the offense isn't working very well.
That is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.
Hammy should give away like a turkey leg.
Ham sandwich.